Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Friday and TGIF episode this week with Kaisa Martiskainen. Hey, Kaisa, welcome back.
Hey, happy to be back.
Absolutely. Great to have you back to talk about what might be potentially the hardest role in the Scrum framework, that is the product owner role. So, guys, we'll talk about a great example of a great product owner a bit later. But for now, let's dive into what sometimes is most interesting, but definitely also most painful for us as Scrum Masters, the anti-pattern. So share with us what might have been potentially the worst product owner anti-pattern you've witnessed in your career.
Sure. So I once worked in a team where the product owner, who was only in the beginning of their product owner journey and didn't have much experience, which itself it's completely fine. But the problem was that prior to becoming a PO, that person had been working as a waterfall project manager. And it was one of these classic organizational shuffles where upper management wanted to become more agile. And then they just went ahead and changed the titles of certain individuals because they thought the positions sounded more or less the same. So like PM, PO, that's it, easy. So of course, there are certain similarities with the product owner and a project manager role. And this is not to say that someone cannot transition from a PM to a PO role. But in this case, the PO really didn't transition from their old role to a new one, but instead just kept on working as they had been working before. And that obviously led to several issues in the team.
So give us a couple of examples of some of those issues that the team experienced.
Yeah, definitely. So because project managers, they are fully focused on planning, executing, and delivering. Those were also the things that this person was focused on, and many of them they really work against what an agile team is trying to do. So obviously you do some planning, but we're not supposed to do extensive planning. And also the product owner should more concentrate on defining and prioritizing features and the requirements of the product instead of just planning and focusing on the execution. So and another issue was that they were really struggling with defining the vision and the direction for the product. And they actually had to go back to their manager, who was acting as the product manager for most of the decisions. So this person, was not able to define a vision. And if anyone had any questions to him about what should be done or which direction should we go, if this was the right direction, they would always say, yeah, I'll have to check with my manager about that. I'm not really sure.
So when we work as Scrum Masters with what was clearly a different mindset to an Agile mindset, but also then this, as you just described, kind of this either reluctance or insecurity regarding decision making. What do you think we can do? Like, what did you do at that time to help this PO and the team?
Right. So what I did after we worked together like this for a while, and it was clear that it wasn't going very well. So I had a conversation with the PO and their manager, and I brought up some of the things that I was observing and asking both the POs and their managers' opinions. And I asked them, what do you think should be our next step here? Because I mean, the team is is not happy. The team is giving this feedback that they feel confused. They don't know which direction to go. And essentially, we had this extra project manager in the team. And then we had a PO that was actually completely absent because that was the product manager. That was the manager that our actual PO was going to. So I asked them, what should we do in this situation? And after some brainstorming, we decided that the PO really needs to properly transition to this role. So maybe they need to take some time to do a little bit more, take some courses, do some more studying and reading so that they could allocate maybe 20% of their time for a certain period for just doing research and trying to understand the differences between the PM and the PO role and understanding a little bit better the
Was
PO.
there a specific
PO
type
role.
of training or kind of, experience sharing or something specific that really helped this PO to transition, to grasp the mindset?
I think in the end, it was a combination of having a mentor within the same company who was a more experienced PO, and then I also offered to help coach them within the team itself. So I think those were, I know they took some courses online, but I think they said that in the end it was the mentor PO and my support as a Scrum Master that really helped them properly transition into that role and really understand how actually the PM and PO role, they were quite different. And
Absolutely.
What he was doing in the beginning wasn't helping the team. Yeah.
And this highlights the importance for us as Scrum Masters to be ready to coach our product owners. I'll put the link on the show notes for a course that is exactly directed at Scrum Masters that need to help their POs. Because at the end, of course, we all want our POs to succeed, to become really great contributors to the team. And sometimes we do work with some of those POs, and that's the example we're going to explore now, Kaisa. So share with us what might have been potentially the best product owner you've ever worked with. How did they work?
So one great PO that I worked with was extremely generous with their time and with their knowledge. And of course, like, this is not something that every PO can do, but this is something that this particular person had. And I think myself and the team, we benefited so much from them sharing their knowledge with us. So they actually were an expert in lean product development, which is something that myself and the team, we were not familiar with. And he was actually a coach for us on that topic. So we were working, and he was coaching us as we went along. So, for example, they explained to us the importance of product market fit and the difference in working in the problem space and the solution space. And they also demonstrated to us how many companies or teams don't spend enough time working in the problem space, but instead they go straight to the solution phase without truly understanding who the target customer is and what the customer pain points and needs are. So I think this PO demonstrated how a great PO can also be a mentor and a teacher. Obviously, they don't have to be, but they can be. And because they really showed the team that, like, this is how I work and this is what I believe in and this is the theory behind it. So it made the development team feel kind of like valued and trusted, and that they were on the same level with the product owner, and like that includes myself as well. So I thought that was one of the greatest experiences of working with a PO for me.
Absolutely. And a great experience, I'm sure it was, because very often is the experience we want to give our teams and our POs as well, right? Like, we want to help them to succeed, and we want to explain how the ways of working we've learned can help them succeed. And you had that experience with a PO. That must have been wonderful.
yeah, it was really amazing. And I'm really, that helped me get really passionate about all things lean. So it was, it was the starting point for me to learn more about it and actually become an expert myself. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And great people in our career, whether they're managers, colleagues, developers, product owners, whatever they might be, they always leave that kind of impression. We learn so much from them. And of course, we cherish that opportunity. And I really love how you said that they were generous with their time and their knowledge, because of course, that's what I say to all of our guests, and we'll say to you today as well, Kaisa. But we're getting close to the end. Before we do, though, I do want to make sure you get a chance to tell us how we can find out more about you and the work that you're doing.
I'm on LinkedIn, and that's about it. So yeah, feel free if you have any questions or comments, or if you'd like to connect, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. I'll put the link on the show notes so that people can go and, of course, even maybe ask a few follow-up questions. Guys, it's been a pleasure. So thank you very much, as I said, for your generosity with your time and your knowledge.
Thank you so much, Vasco. It was a true pleasure to be on your show.
One more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast is over, but there's a lot more we have to share. We have developed our own membership site where you find a community of active and engaged Scrum Masters. In this site, you get access to exclusive content and get to interact with us, your podcast hosts, as well as the best Scrum Masters in the world. So join us at scrummasterpodcast.com and keep this podcast free of advertising. See you next week for one more full week of Scrum Master tips and tricks. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.